Hi everyone, I hope your week got off to a good start. I'm just making this market analysis through YouTube here on behalf of LCG, looking specifically at these Hong Kong protests. Now they've been going on for a while, and so just asking the question, how will these Hong Kong protests affect the Hang Seng index? That's the major index, the major stock index for Hong Kong. So this is indeed the Hang Seng on the chart behind us, as traded through the LCG trader platform. What I'd point out here is that 28,000, a pretty key level of support that so far today we've tested. We hit new monthly lows in the Hang Seng, but we've rebounded off those lows. So really the point being here that actually how the Hang Seng reacts to this 28,000 level will be quite symbolic as to how important these Hong Kong protests are, because there was quite a decent escalation in the protest today with a fair bit of violence, and these, unlike other examples of protests in recent years, they haven't been dampened down. They seem to almost be escalating. Now we've had a direct comment on the situation from China. Maybe that's partly why we're off the lows, because we might see the beginning of these protests being stamped out, which from a continuity standpoint in the short term, it's a good thing. For long-term democracy and the implications that has on the local markets, that's a different question, but that's a little bit harder to deal with in the short-term trading sense. So I'll take here being basically, if we can hold above 28,000 for a day or two, that bodes pretty well for a retest of the top of the trading range. So if you're talking about the trading range being between 28,000 and conservatively 28,700, and then we're potentially looking at a retest of the top of the range and potentially a breakout move higher alongside other global indices. Why we think maybe 28,000 does give way and points to a big drop lower is that on a longer term basis, you can see that actually the Hang Seng went through a steep drop, and you could argue that the bounce that we had here was just a kind of short covering rally within the scope of a new downtrend, and that we're rolling over back below the 20-day moving average. And then if we go much longer term, you can see that actually 32,000 being a potential long-term double top here. We had a big sell-off from 32,000 just after having made new highs, and we rallied up, and then on a monthly basis, about when these protests first kicked off, but also very much related to the trade war between the US and China, we had a big monthly sell-off there, and so we bounced back, taken back around 2/3 of it, and we look like we're maybe rolling over again. And if that's the case, there's the case to be made, probably not because of the protests, but maybe just because of the trade war, that actually the Hang Seng rolls over into a bigger decline. So that's all getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But if the trade war talks don't go so well, the trade talks don't go so well this week, and maybe we get a little bit of an escalation in the riots, that could be enough reason to see the Hang Seng drop 1,000 points potentially down to the 27,000 level, or if you're getting a retest of the lows, that's roughly 26,700. Okay, I'll leave it there. Good luck trading this week, and it's Jasper signing out.